Hey everyone, this is Yusuf from YKB Analytics, and in this video I'm going to show you how to web scrape using the request, beautiful soup, libraries, and to put the information to a CSV file using Pandas. Yeah, and with that, we'll get into it. I'm going to show you the page that we're going to web scrape. So we're going to be scraping the titles from this Springfield.co site, and this just has over 20,000 movie titles that we could scrape from. And the way that we're doing it is we're going to scrape each page down here based off of the pagination, based off of each letter category that we have here. So you see that with each letter, it has a different amount of pagination. So with that information, let's get into it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the request object, which is going to do the HTTP request. So I'll code that for you. So I'm going to say res equals request dot get. And with this, you'll put in a URL. So I'm going to use the first page here, which is going to start with the zero, like alphabet page. And this is going to be on the first page. So I'm going to take this URL and I'm going to plug it in here. All right, just going to save that. So the next thing that we're going to do, so now that we made the request, we're going to use Beautiful Soup to actually do the parsing of the page. So with this, I'm going to make the soup object. So soup equals beautiful soup, in which I'm going to take the text from the request, which this is basically going to be the HTML that comes from the page. And then I'm going to use the LXML parser. You can also use the HTML parser, but I just find that the LXML parser is a little bit faster. Now, this is a third party that you have to, a third party installation that you have to make, which you can look at my blog post if you have any questions about that. Okay, so now that we have the beautiful soup doing the parser, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to identify the objective that we're going to do here. So what I'm trying to do here is before I do the parsing, the levels that I have to go through is I need to go through each page in the pagination to get each of the movie. And then once I finish, in this case, 0, I want to go to the next one, which is A, and parse out those pages. And the way that it's doing it is it's changing this order parameter in the URL. So as you can see, like once I'm going through it, you see that the order change, and then as I'm going through the numbers, it appends this page parameter. So the first thing I have to do is which I'm going to do as a for loop when I'm parsing out the pages, I need to start building out the layers that I'm going to be looping through. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do this layer out here first. Um, and oh yeah, and I guess the way I would do that is I'm going to do an inspect. And then once I see where this lies, I see that these letters, so in this case 0, is a part of this search alpha div. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a soup object that contains all of this, and then I'm going to put it into a list so I can be able to loop through when I'm doing the parsing. So now that I have the soup object that has all the HTML, I'm now going to start building out that part of the page that will parse through the letters. So alphabet. So I'm going to call this alphabet HTML. So this is going to take the same soup object in which I want to just find the div. Whoops, let me put that. The div that has a class of search and alpha. And you could see that I got that from looking at this class here, which contains the letters. And I'll just do a copy and paste just to make sure. All right, cool. So now we have the HTML for that. So now what I want to do is I want to find all of the links, which the links are all of the letters here, because right now it also contains this form as well, but all I want is the links itself. So I'm going to dig deeper into it. I'm going to call this the alphabet pages, or I mean I could say links too, but I'm going to say pages, in which I'm going to take the same alphabet HTML, and I'm going to do a find all this time, in which I'm going to find all the links. You could just do something like this. So I know previously I said div and I was looking for the class of the search alphabet because there's multiple divs here, but in this case, since I'm looking in this div and all I want are the links, which are the A's, and the A elements or the link elements, this is just going to contain all the links. And if you want, you could do a print statement just to see what any of this looks like. Um, and now with that, I'm going to build out the order list, which this is just going to contain all the letters. I'm going to do this as a list comprehension. Um, so I'm going to say link.text. So I'm going to take basically all the letters for link and alphabet pages. So this is going to strip all of the like HTML elements that was attributed to each of the letters and just get the text itself. All right, so that pretty much takes care of the outer layer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to we can pretty much start doing the looping. And the main reason I did this is just the same way as we saw that 0 was appended here. I just want this to be a counter that would loop through. So once we get all of the pagination um, here, once we go through all the pagination, it'll just go back to the outer layer and loop through here. So now I'm just gonna start building the loop. Um, at this point, I'm just gonna copy and paste some of the code so you don't see the time it takes for me to put all this in. So first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm going to first make two empty lists. So these two empty lists are being made just so it can hold all the movie titles and the years they came out, so I can then append it into a pandas object. So these is just temporarily there just to hold it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build out the first layer. So I'm just going to copy and paste this in and just explain what's happening.